Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to your Lunch Break Live. My name's Ivana Hrinq. If you're new here, if you're not, thank you for coming back. Today is Thursday, July the 15th, and we're wrapping up this week, entering a new week next week with a little bit of a fun return, we'll call it, and that is SEC Media Days. Now, SEC Media Days will begin on Monday in Hoover at the Winfrey Hotel. Today, I am joined by one of our sports experts here, Michael Casagrande, and he is going to give us a little bit of an overview about what's going to happen or what is expected to happen at SEC Media Days and some of the changes rather that fans can expect if they are anticipating attending next week. So, Michael, thank you for coming on, for explaining a little bit of this to us, because we know that some of the people who like to go to Media Days are diehard fans. They're ready to get there and they go every year. So, what is different this year about the fan experience at SEC Media Days than has been in prior years?
Right. Yeah, no, it's back for the first time. Obviously, last year was no media days. They talked about doing it virtually, didn't end up doing that because there was so much uncertainty about the season even happening at this point last year. But back at Hoover, back at the Winfrey, it would have been in normal times. It would have been in Nashville this year. They were kind of moving it around a little bit, but back in Hoover, back in the Winfrey, it will feel much different. It will look much different from the coverage that you see. Typically, that lobby is jam-packed full of people, at least on the Alabama and Auburn days, which would be Wednesday and Thursday this year. But it's going to be a much more tame, obviously, situation with everything going on. The lingering effects of COVID-19. There will be no fans in the lobby. The autograph scene that is normally can get pretty wild. Won't be happening this year. I guess the hotel, there are certain restrictions with the corporate use of that hotel. The Delta variant, obviously things aren't going in the right direction. The low vaccine rates in the state, understandable given everything that's going on right now. So I think there will be an area where fans can stand outside the hotel lobby, but it won't be anything where they could get autographs. It'll be at a distance to where there wouldn't be at least conceivably the way it's drawn up right now, that there wouldn't be coaches or players coming up to that area to sign autographs.
So essentially they will be at a distance from the door of the hotel. So fans are not allowed inside. They've got to stay outside, and they're not even close enough to take a selfie or say any sort of picture with their coach or player. Is that correct?
That's my understanding of it, yep.
Now, we know that again, starts Monday, so that seems to be the kind of set in stone plan. Michael, did they give any sort, and when I mean they, the people above SEC Media Days, did they give any sort of feeling that they had maybe heard from fans, or have you heard from any fans that are upset about this setup?
I guess there was a little bit of chatter on social media yesterday that were, disappointed, I guess, but it is what it is at this situation. I guess we could all do our part to try to keep this, the pandemic down. I guess, maybe next year, if things go better, we can be back in a place where things are more, 100% normal. But, I don't think they're going to be budging on this. And when it comes down to player safety, player health, coach health, they obviously took no risks last year with anything fan media related, and it doesn't look like they're going to be making any differences, any changes, at least in that close one-on-one type of situation this year with the media days.
Now, most of the SEC schools, though, they have announced that they will return to full capacity stadiums for the fall games. Is that correct?
That's right.
So that's interesting. I know that a lot of people are going to say, look, what's going to be the difference in, say, a month and a half when games get going and we get to fill Bryant-Denny or we get to fill Jordan-Hare versus filling the media day. So interesting point there. But Michael, what are you expecting to be different for you and to be different for the people that are covering media days this year versus, say, 2019? We know there was not a media days in 2020.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be more at the podium type of situation where you typically see the coaches who stand at the podium in the big ballroom, the main media room that you see on TV. And then after that, the players will be would be distributed around the room. There'd be 3 players from each school in a normal year, groups of reporters crowd around them, and it's more of a intimate setting. It's not a main ballroom with a microphone. You have to ask a question in front of the TV cameras and the SEC network. That will not be the case with the players this year. They will be at the same podium as the coaches, so it won't be as you won't have the opportunity to get as much unique, and it's harder to get unique material anymore from these situations. Just the number of people who attend it, the amount of TV coverage. It's kind of a made for TV event at this point anyway. So the amount of unique material coming out of Hoover, it's less and less every year.
Now, when do we expect to know about some of our other SEC schools? I know, again, Alabama has announced that they will open back up the stadium to fans. What do we know about other schools, other SEC schools, and when they will make an announcement regarding fans at the games in the fall?
I don't know of anyone who has announced anything other than 100% attendance anywhere in the country, to be honest. I mean, the announcements have kind of come little by little. It's not very surprising anymore. I said it, if they want to announce something other than 100%, I think people are assuming that whatever it's going to be, wherever it is, unless there's some sort of, something changes between now and then, the whole plan is pretty much everywhere is going to be at 100%. I don't think anywhere in the SEC is going to be any different from that.
Let's talk next week, Media Days, for our Alabama fans and our Auburn fans. So first, who can we expect at Media Days from the University of Alabama?
Phil Mathis, defensive lineman, will be there on the defensive side, and John Mechie, receiver, will be there on the offensive side. So many guys, so many of the big stars from last year's team now in the NFL. So it's kind of up to the new younger wave coming through. These guys are veterans, and they kind of usually bring veterans to this kind of event. So it's not the same, per se star power as you'd get, last year would have been a Mac Jones, Najee Harris, Devontae Smith. I mean, you could have chosen from a large number of players. So it's just a little bit different this year. And, it's up to the next group to become Media Days worthy, I guess.
Kind of carry that torch there.
Yeah, Auburn. I know Bo Nix is coming for Auburn. I'm trying the other name. I can't remember right now. I hadn't looked at it lately, but I know Bo Nix, the quarterback, will be there for Auburn.
Who else can we expect in the SEC? Are there any powerhouses that are expected to be there player-wise?
It's kind of one of those years where it's not, so many of the stars from last year. There was such a star-heavy class last year. I'm trying to think through the list right now. I know Matt Corral will be there for Ole Miss quarterback. He's kind of getting a lot of the attention. I think there are only 3 quarterbacks coming, which is pretty low for a 14-team conference. And so many guys, so many of the star quarterbacks have moved on to the next level. So, there's not that big star power that Johnny Manziel, everyone's going to have to crowd around to see what Johnny Manziel has to say. It's not going to be one of those type media days.
Now, if you are a fan and you want to come to Media Days, do you need to sign up to get in this outside spot? Do you just go and secure your spot in the morning, or do you know how that is going to work?
I don't know. I believe you just show up. I don't know if there's any sort of sign up. It doesn't sound like it's going to be the most exciting place to stand. It'll be hot. It'll be July. So I don't know. I guess first come, first serve, but I'm kind of curious to see who's going to want to stick it out in those situations, those conditions, if there really isn't any sort of interaction expected.
And like you said, if the reason that so many of these fans flock to Media Day for the photos, for the autographs, and for the chance just to shake Nick Saban's hand, or I almost said Gus Malzahn's hand, that would not be the case this year, but just to interact with some of their favorite coaches. And if that is not going to happen this year, I'd be interested to see what the people who decide to come, what their objective is, other than just being passionate and just being happy that football is back and wanting to go. So, yeah. Michael, what are you most looking forward to about Media Days?
I guess seeing my friends again. I don't know. Maybe I'll be selfish. It's good to see some of the writers, the different people from around the SEC. I don't know if can't say there's a huge storyline that is popping off the page that we're going to have to, we're talking about the name, image, likeness, like some of the impacts of how that's working in reality. I'm sure that will be a large talking point. But But
And it'll also be Coach Harson's first SEC Media Days as well.
That's true. That's true as well. So yeah, I mean, there'll be couple first timers. So it's, I wish I could sound more excited about it. It's it's kind of one of those annual things, and it's going to be a little bit different this year. Not as it's been a little bit less exciting every year, probably in that sense. And this year's going to be difficult with the circumstances, but we'll make the most out of it. We'll get you the best coverage we can here on AL.com.
What are the days that people need to be paying attention to? What are our Alabama days, Auburn days, Ole Miss days?
Yeah, well, it runs Monday through Thursday. LSU is probably the main one on Monday. Tuesday, Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, Alabama will be there on Wednesday, then Auburn on Thursday.
So those are our big teams for the day. Michael, I know you and everybody, all of our sports reporters at AL.com will keep all of us updated. We look forward to seeing your coverage and appreciate you stopping by and explaining this for us.
It's always my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Michael. Everybody watching, thank you. I will not see you tomorrow, but I will see you on Monday.